Good afternoon. Winterview, back again with another brief dialogue for his dear friend, Annastacey. Driving in my car on a rainy weekend. A little bit annoying. To the beach to go for a surf, and there were no waves. Very upsetting. I'm not praying to the right God, clearly. Bit of a rattle in the car today, not sure what that is. Apologies to my devotees who hang on my every utterance because I'm so special. What is rattling? I know what it is. It's the sound of the rain through the microphone. I think. Anyway, it's a little bit annoying. Nonetheless, plow on, push on. The spiritual search, the journey, so to speak. Let's talk a little bit about that. It's a funny old thing. The spiritual journey. Let's talk about dreams for a moment, as in the dreams when we go to sleep at night, those dreams. Let us imagine we fall asleep and we start dreaming. And in that dream, we imagine that we are a prince, princess, some special type of person in our culture, some noble or wise person. And we discover in our dream, in that dream logic that we're all so familiar with, that we need to do something. We need to travel to the enchanted forest across the ocean, where we will find a rare hibiscus flower that we must bring back to the wizard, who will make a potion that will do something cool, that kind of thing. And so in the dream, it feels real. It feels like the hibiscus flower is important, that I have to get this, that this is something worth my time. And it's funny because in the dream you just kind of roll with that as if it's the most normal thing in the world. You go on these magical quests so often that here I am again on yet another magical quest. Never doubting its validity for a moment. And then in the dream, as you're undertaking this magical quest, you come across a magical hermit crab who joins you on this journey and talks to you and advises you and warns you of danger. And again, absurd in real life, but in the dream, totally normal. I totally accept Herman, the hermit crab, who's my faithful companion as I travel towards the enchanted forest. I totally accept it. There's no critical filter at all. This is what I do. I travel to enchanted forests to get magical flowers. That's what I'm doing. So I'm on my way. And in the dream, things get in my way. The obstacles to overcome. The boat sinks. There's a storm. There's a mean dragon. There's an evil witch. I get sick. I get distracted by a Coldplay concert that's suddenly in the dream, and so on. No critical evaluation at all, totally accepting it all. But more importantly, besides that, the quest itself, the journey seems real. It seems like I'm definitely on my way somewhere, and everything seems to support it. Everything supports the journey. The fact that I think there's a purpose to this flower, the fact that I think the flower exists, the fact that I think it's going to have some payoff when I get the flower, and all this stuff, and most importantly, I'm driving it, I'm doing it all. Now let's take ourselves back to the waking, so-called normal state or world where we live, and everything's in this world seems a bit more conventional, a bit more stable. We seem to have critical filters for the ridiculous. So if someone was to suggest that we travel to an enchanted forest for a magical hibiscus, we might really think that one through before undertaking the journey. We might run that by a few of our friends to see what they think before we head off to uncharted waters in search of magical flowers. Yet, enlightenment, liberation, seems like a worthy goal. This seems like something that I can get, that other people have got, because I believe there are other people in the world who have achieved it, who will show me the way or help me get there. So there's starts to become the similarity of the sleeping dream, we'd say, and the awake dream. That I totally believe that I live in a world, and I totally believe that this world is filled with people, and I'm one of those people, and I have evidence that I'm one of those people, and I have evidence that there are other people around me. And I've heard from the people around me, or at least one or two in particular, that I'm not seeing the full picture, that there is another reality that I can perceive that I'm not currently perceiving. And this is curious to me, because I don't feel like I'm enjoying this life, so to speak. There's problems in it. And anything that can sweeten the deal, anything that can make my life just that little bit more bearable, I'll definitely go for it. But I've got my critical filters. I'm not going to just go after any old thing. I'm not going to just drink bottles of rum or snort lines and lines of cocaine and, be promiscuous. And even though that sounds like a good, fun idea, my critical filters won't let me probably go down that road. But liberation and enlightenment sounds like good, clean, wholesome fun. Won't hurt anyone. I can get that. So off I go on my quest for enlightenment, seeking this quest. Now, do you see the parallels already in the dream that I talked about earlier with the magical flower and the quest for enlightenment? Let's go back to the dream for a second. If we go back to the dream and we're back in the search for the magical hibiscus flower, the quest as I call it, imagine we're going along where we've commandeered a floating tractor that is powering us across the mysterious ocean, and I'm in my cabin on this giant floating tractor, this immense creature of my dream that is somehow makes sense that I'm on it, and looking out over the night sky, watching pterodactyls go backwards and forwards in my dream world, totally into this whole appearance as if it's real and I'm on my way somewhere. And suddenly something occurs to me, something very unusual. I suddenly think, wait a minute, I'm dreaming. This isn't real. There's no pterodactyls. I'm having a dream. And then it's all funny. It's all silly. It's all amazing suddenly. because it still feels like I'm on the tractor. I'm still on the tractor going across the ocean with pterodactyls. It's amazing. This is amazing. This is all a dream. How extraordinary. And it's still unfolding. It's still continuing, even though I've realised it's just a dream. It's still going on. Isn't that incredible? And I still need to get this flower. But it's just a dream. Wow. I'm laughing now in the dream because it's funny. It's silly. The seriousness at which I undertook the mission is now a joke. Straight away, it's a joke. And it's not that the pterodactyls go away and the tractor sinks and it still continues. The mission continues. I need that flower still. Now let's go back to so-called real waking life, and I'm on my quest for enlightenment, liberation. And what I'm doing is I'm being very clever. I'm reading the right books. I've got my spiritual library now. I've been quite discerning. I'm not going for the really way out gurus who make me give away all my money and funny breathing techniques and tell me to abide in my essential beingness and all that stuff. I'm being quite discerning. I've got the sort of modern Advaita teacher book list, and I've got my audio list playlist that I'm listening to. Got my favorite YouTube speakers on this matter, and I feel like I'm on my way. And I go to meetings, not satsangs, because satsangs are a bit old-fashioned. I go to meetings, and I pay not too much money because it's not ridiculous, but just enough to feel like it's a equal exchange. And while I'm there, people ask questions that I would have thought of to ask too, and then sometimes I think of a question I need to ask the speaker at the front, who I clearly believe is enlightened and knows something that I don't have, and is helping me to get there, and will definitely help me. And so I think about questions, and I have a question. Can you tell me what is consciousness? What does that mean? And the speaker, gives you a good answer, and you kind of go, okay, and you're satisfied with that. You don't quite fully understand the answer. It's a little bit mysterious and spiritual, but you quite like the fact that it's a bit mysterious and spiritual, because then it means that it's more likely that this person knows something a bit special and unusual. And secretly, at the end of the meeting, you're a little bit disappointed, because you kind of hoped today would be the day that you would get enlightened, and it's a little bit annoying, but nonetheless it'll probably happen soon. And you go home and do some normal stuff, watch TV, cook some dinner, call a friend, and then get a bit restless. You think, I probably need to listen to that speaker who I really like, because that's something I really need to hear right now. So you get your MP3 file list and you play this dialogue, and it's a good one. It's like, yeah, this makes me feel a bit blissy when I listen to this one, and it's great. And again, nothing happens, and so on. And then later you're relaxing in bed, and there's a sort of little funny shift where I think I see the nothingness, and I don't think I'm a person, and that kind of thing. And it's just a fleeting glimpse maybe, and then it's sort of back, and you get very excited. It's like, yes, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to the goal. I think I'm getting closer. It must be only a matter of time now. And then suddenly, you wake up. Just like in the dream analogy, where I had the character wake up and suddenly realize it was a dream, you wake up. You wake up and go, wait a minute, this is just a dream. This is just a dream. I'm just dreaming. I'm dreaming that I'm a person who's looking for enlightenment. That's all. I'm dreaming that I'm a person who's on this quest for enlightenment, to get enlightened, and I've got my books, and I've got my MP3 files, and I've got my satsang. That's what it is. It's just a dream. No wonder. And now it's silly. The whole thing is silly. The whole thing is silly. The seeking, the books, the the fact that you thought you were a person who was on their way somewhere, it's all nonsense, straight away. But that's only realised when there's waking up. But until that point, you're on the journey. You're on the journey for the magical flower. And that's that. Thanks for listening.